Hey friend, welcome to my podcast, The Fit Soul. I'm your host, Amy Ramsey. In this podcast, we will be discussing soul-filled strategies to unleash your confidence, increase your energy, and all the things healthy lifestyle. If you're a Christian woman who is ready to reach your God-given potential, walk worthy of your calling with abundant joy and energy, girlfriend, you are in the right spot. I mean, you only have one life to live. You might as well maximize it. Buckle in, and thanks for listening.
Are we live right now?
We are live.
We are live in Madison, Mississippi with a very special guest. So happy Saturday, everyone. And we're going to have a wonderful topic. All right, Daniel, tell me when we're... Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. And I'm super excited to have this podcast, this Facebook Live today. I have a very, very special guest. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce him right now. He's actually, before I introduce him, he was my number one downloaded podcast last year. And people love him. And I love him. He is my husband, Randy Ramsey. Welcome. Nice sound effects, Daniel.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for having me here again. Happy New Year, everyone. And I can't wait to discuss the things we're going to discuss today.
Oh, my goodness. I love it. And so, Randy, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you being here. This is not your favorite thing to do. Or is it? Do you love getting in front of the camera and being on TV and being all the places? Is this your favorite?
No, that is not my favorite at all. I do it for you.
Well, you do it because you also like to help people. You really do.
Yes.
Yes. And today our topic is the midlife breakthrough you've been waiting for, steps to clarity, energy, and lasting results. And we're going to talk about some science around this and actually how to have a breakthrough and what is going to help you have not just short-term results, but Randy and I, our heart together for our own health and our own wellness is vitality, is vibrance, is to have energy to do the things that we're called to do, to perform our jobs with excellence, to show up in this world with vitality. And how we manage our health is at the foundation of so many things. And people get discouraged when they are not able to have that breakthrough. And so Randy and I have worked together for years on really redefining what does it look like to have health over 40, over 50. He's over 60. It changes as we age. And what used to work no longer works. Can I get an amen on that one, Randy?
Amen.
Okay, man, a few words. All right. So, and before we get started, also, I want to say, first of all, thank you, Daniel Anderson. We are in the Audio Alchemy Productions. Amazing studio. It's fantastic. The quality is so good. So thank you, Daniel, so much. And we're going to jump right into some of the things. Before we get started, I think I want to just address, as we're in a new year and people are looking for their quote unquote New Year's resolutions, they're making new goals, they're looking to have changes. And a lot of people right now are kind of gung ho. They're all excited, right? We're just a few days into the new year. And the reality is that the science behind New Year's resolutions and the data behind New Year's resolutions is they don't work. And people get really, they can get stuck in a narrative that is frustrating when you don't understand the transformation of change. And we really want to, we're going to give you some takeaways today. You might want to grab a notebook. You might want to just, grab a little pen and paper and jot some of these things down because if you have tried to get your health under control and you found that, it worked for a little bit, but then you weren't able to sustain it, we're going to address that today. If you feel like you are too old to lose the weight, even if your goal isn't fat loss or weight loss, But to feel better and to have more energy, like this is just part of the aging process, I want to bust that myth. That's absolutely not true. It's not too old. You're not too late. And if you have felt stuck in knowing where to start and what to do, and thinking that you just, or maybe even overwhelmed with so much information, this podcast, this live is going to be, it's going to give you clarity. And listen, I had a friend, Wendy Mistretta, a little shout out to Wendy, said, clarity is my love language. And I'm like, I think it might be my love language too. Okay, so Dr. Ramsey, let's discuss how can we take some steps forward for actually building lasting change.
Okay. Well, I recently read a book, as you know, called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And for those of you who don't know who Gary Keller is, he started Keller Williams Real Estate, the most successful real estate company in America, if not the world. And the book is about building healthy, sustainable habits based on what you want your life to look like. And he gives a framework in the book about what do you want your 5-year goals to look like? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And you have to get there by start planning now. You say, right now, what do I want to do that can affect the change that can get me to where I want to be today? And then carry that forth to where I want to be in a week. And then what's the one thing I can do now that will carry me to where I want to be in a month, then a year, then 3 years, so on to 5 years. The key is building healthy habits. Research done at University College of London in 2009 shows that despite what we've been taught in the past, about 21 days to develop a habit, 42 days, it's actually 66 days on average for the average person to develop a habit. And discipline and consistency, as you know, are the key to developing a habit. And it becomes easier over time, but you have to start with one thing.
I love that. I love that. And I love the research, the neuroscience around building. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. And our thoughts become our actions. And so to even begin, you talked about that new neural pathway. That's a thought. And we build that in the science and neuroplasticity and understanding. I can change my thoughts. And I just love that the science shows that it's 66 days if you work on it. If you're consistent and you work on it, you can build new thought processes in your life, which determine your actions. I say it all the time. You can change your life with 3 things. Your thoughts, so those thoughts are things, your actions, and then they become your habits. And so when Gary Keller started to break this down and he said the one thing, what was more of the research around that?
Well, you have to start with a one thing. There's a research done in 2001 by a physicist in San Francisco that shows if a 2-inch domino falls forward, it falls forward with enough mass and inertia to topple a 4-inch domino. And that 4-inch domino then falls forward with enough mass and inertia to topple an 8-inch domino, and so on and so forth. So if you follow that pattern of doubling the size of the domino every time, if you do 57 dominoes that are increasing 2 times the size each time, 57 dominoes later, you would have a domino as large as the distance between the Earth and the moon. That's pretty incredible. That one little thing now can have that effect later. So you have to start with one thing to work on developing these habits. It has to take a thought. I want to do this. My action is this one little thing now, and then consistency and discipline will take you down the road to where you want to be.
That is so good. And you and I have had a lot of conversation on, okay, so how do you build that consistency? How do you build that forward movement so you can actually create that momentum? And I know we're going to break down 10 things, scientifically backed strategies for success that we've both walked through, we've both experienced, we both last year, before we get into the science of that, last year I made some shifts and some changes in this one thing idea. And I did that with my health and wellness. I did that like outside of that. This would work with anything, but one of my goals last year was to declutter our house. And in that process, in this exact process, it was overwhelming. I would open the attic and I would close the door and just like, I would look at my closet and feel the same thing. I would feel overwhelmed. But finally, when I realized, okay, let me just break this down. I can't do it all in one setting in one time, but how can I actually build that? How can I make that domino, get that first domino and take some, create that momentum? How do we actually do that? And Randy will attest to it, bit by bit, honestly, drawer by drawer, space by space. I started to declutter and it felt good and it built momentum. And in that, again, that neuroscience process of what we reward in the brain is repeated in the brain. So I was like, you go, girl. Like I cleaned out my makeup drawer. You go, girl. You're awesome. And then I would clean out the next drawer and it just felt so good. So these principles apply to all goals in your life, whatever the goals are.
They do. I mean, if you look at the areas of your life, you have personal relationships, you have work, you have physical, you have spiritual, you have mental, and you have to pick one area to start with because the other areas build off of that one area. There's an old Russian proverb that states, if you chase two rabbits, then you will catch neither, because you can't go in two directions. You have to start with one thing that you prioritize and then purposely pursue that.
So good. So good. If you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither.
Correct. Kind of cool, isn't it?
That is kind of cool. That is kind of cool. So in the area of health and wellness, which so many people are really, they're wanting to dial those habits in, and they want to create that sustainable, long-lasting success. You and I both had success last year, and I was frustrated with my health. I was frustrated. I had put on some weight. I know a lot of women can relate with this, and a lot of men doing all the same things that used to work before. Exercise, dialing in the nutrition, and I always feel like those can be up-leveled and optimized. But all of a sudden, what I was doing was no longer working, and it was a struggle. And so I know that a lot of people, they get to this midlife and wellness, and they're like, but this used to work. And the reality is the older we get, there's a smaller margin of error. We used to could indulge and dial it in for 2 days, and I feel an ab popping again, or I start to feel healthy again, or whatever. I could reach those results so much quicker. But the older we get, that is no longer the case, and there are more factors at play here. And so when we start to talk about our health and we start to think about the one thing, how do we answer the struggle of the overwhelm of, oh my gosh, there's information overwhelm. There's it didn't work before. I've done the things. Maybe I've done a program. I've tried all of these options. They didn't work. And so now you start with discouragement, and is it really going to work? And I don't know exactly what to do. How does one thing start to apply to that?
Well, I think going back to what you're saying about doing what we used to do doesn't work. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The things that don't work anymore as we age, you've got to do something different.
Right. So how do we, I want you to talk a little bit more about some of the research around the one thing, and then I want to share a few thoughts that I have around that.
Well, if we're talking about just physical health, Keller points out in the book that one of the thieves of overall success and achievement is neglecting your physical health, because it's very important in all other areas of life to have energy to be able to be successful with these other things. You have the best chance of being successful if you have energy.
That's right.
How do you have energy every day to accomplish your goals and everything else? You meditate and work on your spiritual life of what your higher purpose is. You have to have proper nutrition throughout the day. You have to exercise and strengthen your body and reduce stress. You have to have sufficient sleep at night to recover and get your body ready for the next day. So all of those things have to be taken into account. But he points out that one of the main four thieves of achievement success are lack of prioritizing your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling with my own health. Things that used to work for me no longer worked. And I have been in the health and wellness space for 25 years. I had to dig deep to figure out what I needed for this stage of life, and it was different. So if you're looking for that simple plan to align your habits, your health, and your mindset for midlife success, I've got you covered. I want to help you with clarity and focus, help you understand more about your hormonal imbalances and outdated habits, and help you get that energy and get those real results in your life. I've been able to shed 10 pounds and keep them off, and not just me, but many others who have done my midlife metabolism reset. This is different. This is if you're over 40 and you have the stressors that we have. This is not about quick fixes. This is about getting results right now, but learning how to maintain them for your life. I am so excited about this. This will help you thrive through your midlife. Strategies tailored for your needs and for your hormones and your metabolism and your mood and your energy. So if you're ready to crush with confidence 2025, walk into this new year with purpose and feeling like the best version of yourself, strong and energized and aligned with your goals, I want to encourage you to go ahead and get your spot in the Midlife Metabolism Reset. Our next one is in January. Those spots are sacred and they are filling up quickly. So you can go to midlifemetabolism.com, grab your spot right now.
And having, I think, the right tools to be able to help you understand what are those things? What is proper nutrition? This is one thing that I find that in all of the work that I've done, and I've been integrative nutrition health coach for a really long time, and people say, oh yeah, I eat healthy. Okay, well, let's break that down, because what is eating healthy? What does that look like? We all have different needs in our body. And what I have learned, and I'll just say this out of love and just out of respect as well, most people don't understand what it actually means to eat healthy. The standard American diet is considered the SAD diet. And it is, so what we see in the standard American diet is a lot of processed foods. So I've even worked with a lot of women that have unprocessed their diet, and it's still not the right nutrients. Most people aren't getting nearly enough protein in. The building blocks for our muscles, they're not even getting nearly enough protein in, and they don't understand how powerful that nutrition piece is for energy, right?
I agree. I mean, speaking of protein, I see people at the clinic who are taking on a new journey, and they're eating their protein bar. And if I look at the label, it says 11 grams of protein, but then it has 38 grams of carbs and all this sugar in it, but it's marketed as a protein bar. It's actually detrimental to their health rather than beneficial, but they don't know. You have to have somebody to help you know so you can know.
And another aspect that you just mentioned and alluded to is just, that properly like meditating and doing some different things that are really helping our stress. If we don't deal with that stress piece in our life at our age, over 40, you're probably not going to get those results that you're looking for. It is vital when we have those higher levels of stress, and whether it's an overcommitment or just this stage of life is stressful. With maybe you might be in the sandwich generation where you're taking care of aging parents and you're still raising children. Our workload is oftentimes increasing as we are getting older. The pressures of life, life is just kind of crazy right now. I mean, in our culture and in our world. So there are so many factors that contribute to stress in our lives, but how we mitigate that stress is so important. And talking back about that energy management piece, it's not just what we're eating and properly hydrating and getting enough sleep. It's also this place of understanding an overcommitted schedule and not actually taking that process of what is best for my sustainable health. And Randy will, you can be gracious and kind. I tend to overcommit. I tend to overcrowd. I tend to have way too much in my schedule.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe. And it's just in my own process. This is part of what I'm learning now is my energy management for me. And I feel like somebody needs to hear this. Somebody else that needs to hear this is that, especially if you're ambitious and driven, learning to mitigate stress is going to be a big key factor to your long-term success. And that's hard.
I agree with that. And one thing to point out is that it's hard to do it alone.
Mm.
You need other people in your life that are on the same journey forward that you are. I mean, one thing Keller talks about, and many other writers, because I read a lot, as you know, talk about is having people in your life that are pointed in the same direction, whether it's an accountability partner, an accountability group, or even a coach. Gary Papasan, who co-wrote the book with Keller, is a high-performance coach. And he has coaches that coach him. Keller has coaches that still coach him. One other research they pointed out in the book is if you look at this time of year or any time, this time particularly because gym owners love New Year's because everybody signs up. Then for 3 months, 80% of them come. Then by March, 60% of them are coming. Then by May, 20% are coming regularly, but they've paid for a full year. It works for the gym owner, but it doesn't work for the people. A study he referenced says to get the best results in moving forward in a fitness journey, you need to be going to the gym with an accountability partner, a training partner, and have a coach. They have the best results. The people that have the second best results are the people that go to the gym alone. Third best results are people that belong to the gym but rarely go. And the people that have the worst results are the people that never get started. They don't belong to the gym. So you have to make a decision. You have to have the thought, as you said. You have to make the decision to move forward. But it's hard to move forward alone. Jesus had 12 people he surrounded himself with. And we know Jesus could have done it all alone by himself all the time, but he chose not to. He chose to surround himself with people to help move his mission forward.
You said so many things, so many beautiful things there that my heart is going, ah. All right. So hiring a coach. I happen to be a coach and I'm a coach that keeps a coach. So I'm a certified high performance coach and also certified integrative nutrition coach, personal trainer, life coach, like all of the things. And I keep a coach. There's something so powerful when you have a coach that's helping you identify priorities and get understanding how to get your priorities in alignment with your value system and what matters most. And when we start to really think about our lives in that bigger perspective, that bigger picture, maximizing our lives and really optimizing our health, as you said, Randy, earlier, so we can have the energy that we need to achieve all of the other goals. and making sure that's in alignment with God's best for us in our value system, right? And so I love working with my clients and helping them establish that and helping keeping them on track. But we read a study years ago. I cannot remember it for the life of me, but it said the number one thing for success I think it was a weight loss, like for people for weight loss. You asked me, you actually read the research, and when you asked me about it, I'm like, and my first thought was, of course, nutrition. And you were like, no. Your workout plan. Nope. It was community. That's how powerful community is for us. And like you said, we're created for interconnectivity. We do so much better when there's a group doing it with us. We hold ourselves at that higher level. So that I think accountability piece with a coach, a mentor, and community usually makes it fun and more exciting is really important. I just want to I have got one little caveat is with an accountability partner, make sure an accountability partner is really going to hold you accountable. I think that's one thing that is not addressed enough. Most accountability partners don't hold somebody else accountable properly because they still want to be a friend with them. And, or like in a marriage relationship, you still want to have a good relationship with your spouse if they fall off the bandwagon or if they don't do what they say that they're going to do. So is your accountability really holding you accountable? And are y'all really a good team together?
I agree with that. One issue with having a training partner at the gym is you and I set a time, not you and I, but you and your training partner set a time to go to the gym. And if they're not like-minded and they want to use that time as socialization time to catch up on how are you doing, how are the kids, what are you and your husband doing this weekend, that's not a good use of that time. It has to be a like-minded person that you're moving forward with, not just somebody that says, oh, I'll do it with you. I'll hold you accountable. They have to have the priority and the purpose that you do.
Yes, absolutely. I have honestly, I can say this. I have never found an accountability partner in real life that wasn't a coach or a mentor or somebody that I was actually paying for that. And I would love to find that, but I have, there's something really powerful about having, and I used to be a personal trainer, showing up when you actually show up for yourself with that higher level guidance and support, right?
Right. One thing about a coach is they're trained
Yeah.
in techniques to hold you accountable, and the average person isn't.
Right.
It's not just, again, just showing up and saying, let's do this together. But you got to have some training in it. And coaches are better at it than the average person.
That's right. As
far as community, I mean, if you look at the success of CrossFit and success of Burn Boot Camp, places like that, it's built on the community, not just showing up and doing it. It's the people you meet, and then you intertwine your lives together outside of the box or outside of the gym. Share life together eventually.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so let's just go through real quickly just to give you some structure here. I would love for you to think about in your own life, in this past year, think about 2024 and where maybe is the gap so you can close that gap in 2025. One of the best things that we can do to move the needle forward in our life is to identify where did I have successes, but where was I struggling? And here I want to give you the place that most people struggle is past failures. Really, it's a belief in themselves, like I just. So it's not really taking a wholehearted approach to believing that it's possible for you. And then in that belief piece is there's so many limited beliefs, and thinking that you're too old or it's too late for you is just a lie. It is an absolute lie. You're never too old, ever, ever, ever too old. I love it. My father started a health journey this past year, and it was just beautiful to watch him start tracking his steps and learn to learn a little bit more about protein and how to count his protein. And and what to do with that and how much more energy he had and learn how to add a little electrolytes to his water. It was so awesome. And he felt better. And gosh, what did he lose? Like 20 pounds? He joined my program and lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, I thought he lost 25 to 27 pounds in a month.
Crazy. It's crazy. You're not too old. It's not too late. And then the other thing too is just feeling stuck and overwhelmed. And what happens when you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed or overwhelmed in information, Lord help us all. All you have to do is Google. We've got so much information at our fingertips, but it's overload. It's getting away from that one thing and just implementing that structure to get started. And so a lot of people get overwhelmed and it's just like, never mind. Or let me just try it. You're not going in with full belief. And you don't have the right mindsets around you built in. And so there is so much power to having the right accountability and the right expert plan in place. Knowing the struggles that we face in this over 40 space, because if I went to the gym. This is so funny. I don't want to say too much because it was a local gym. And as I was signing up, they give you a free little tour and a free little, I can't remember all the stuff that you get right when you sign up. But he was like, oh, okay, well, what are your goals? I'm like, I just threw out a goal. It's like, all right, well, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. It's like, okay. And my steps were 10,000. I'm good for 10,000 steps a day. He's like, well, let's just take that up. Get at least 15,000 or 20,000 a day. I was like, okay, sure. I don't know. I was like, okay, sure. Anyway, it was a terrible plan. Everything he recommended was absolutely terrible because it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't meant for somebody that was over 40. I mean, somebody that's 28 years old, just throwing out something, a non-thoughtful approach wasn't what I needed for my results. And so let's talk through, and you probably do want to like take some notes on this. And the number one thing that I think that you need is the proper accountability. And these are not in order. This is just on my list right now, is accountability. Like we've been talking about, you need that accountability, having that accountability with other people. I created a program called the Midlife Metabolism Reset. And in this, I created it for me and Randy. Honestly, we both needed something to help us stay structured and, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to dial my nutrition back in. I'm going to work on my stress. I'm going to start doing these things. And what we found is we weren't sticking to it. And even trying to do it with each other, we just weren't doing it. So I was like, okay, I know what we need as an expert, as a midlife wellness expert. I know the things that we need from my own struggles. I had started to figure out, especially that stress management piece. We have to deal with that, and the nutrition and the exercise. So, and then I have a whole programs built out. I'm like, I'm going to build this program out for myself because I have got to get these things under control. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in. Then I talked to a couple of friends and they're like, oh, I have got to have that. I've got to have that. So I started a program. It sold out immediately. We all had massive results. And what's fun is that we're keeping up with those results. It was a true reset in the form of reset, but there was accountability built in from the right tools, the right frameworks, the right structure for which you can check in with a group. The little app, it's one thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to do these things on this app. That's my one thing. And I'm really going to dial this in and I'm going to stay committed. And you're doing it with other people that are in this same journey. It was really powerful for both of us, wasn't it, Randy?
I agree. And the things I liked about it were you could see other people, what they're doing when they're checking in. Mm-hmm. You're not judging them for not doing it, but you see what they're doing. You see who's having results. And like most things in life, if you want to be successful in something, identify someone who's successful, find out what they're doing, and go do it. And the app allows that. And if people that are falling behind, there's a system in place within the app to encourage them.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what's going on? Why are you falling behind? Come on, get back with it.
Yeah. The other thing that we need to have this lasting success, and this is something that I feel is crucial, is learning how to create a champion mindset. Learning how to overcome the all or nothing thinking. I think it's the all or nothing thinking that gets most people stuck. They start strong, like probably right now, you've got a little momentum, you're starting strong, you're feeling excited about it. But I think it's 90% of people fall off of their quote unquote New Year's resolutions by February. They're gone. In fact, they've even forgotten what the goals are. They kind of loosely made them, and kind of like that guy at the gym who was like, yeah, do these things. I'm like, okay, sure. It doesn't work. But learning how to create that champion mindset, how to overcome the cognitive distortion of all or nothing thinking, that black or white thinking, of the start and the stop and the start and the stop, where you're not really creating consistency, where you're not really creating that transformation of change. And this is where, in this midlife metabolism reset, I come in as your coach and teach you the mindsets that you have to create success, not just in your health, but in every area of your life. It's so powerful. All right. Number 3 is build habit loops. I love this. I love learning how to build habit loops and how to automate our habits. Randy, do you have anything to say to that?
As far as building habits?
Well, the habit loop and the neuropsychology and just how we can actually, the app that we use in this is actually designed to build a habit loop in your brain. So when you check off whether it's the nutrition or there's a list of things to do, Randy and I worked together and came up with exactly what we need in this midlife to move forward and to create that change in our lives. And in that, to click these things off and let me focus on these things to reset my metabolism, to reset my mind. So this is truly a place to reset, but it is also, it automates the brain and rewires it. So after the reset is over, I'm still doing the same things because my brain it's more than just clicking it off the box. It's actually working towards building the automated system in my brain.
I agree with that. When you do it, it's positive reinforcement. You've done these things and it worked. So you're reinforced to continue to do them. There's a loop to help build habits and improve yourself called the OODA loop, OODA, observe, see what's going on, orient yourself towards it, decide what to do, then act. And if you do that, it moves you closer to your goal every time because you've got to continue to reorient as you move closer. The people that make the most improvement in their physical health are those that have the most improvement to be made. And so many people jump on board, they're all in, they lose 10 pounds the first month, and then they say, okay, I did what I want to do. Then they stop. But they should reorient themselves. Okay, I've done 10 pounds at the end of January. Now, what is my goal? How do I reorient and decide and act for the next month to continue on this journey? People are short-sighted. They're not long-sighted, like the 5-year plan that Keller talks about.
Yeah, and just having that long game in mind. And I'm going to jump to a different point, but to your point with the OODA loop is consistent self-reflection. People that have the greatest results, actually, this is so, and it's so simple. It's such a simple thing to do, is to journal. Just that act of self-reflection, you actually course correct quicker when you're in that place of observation. And it's just really getting off of automatic pilot, and it's getting into a place of awareness. You called it observation, just awareness of, hey, what did I do great yesterday? Or what did I not do? Or where did I fall off? And how can I reorient myself and get myself back on track, right? And so that consistent self-reflection. Another thing is just learning that step-by-step how to achieve a goal, back to decluttering the house. It took me all year long, but it's done. And I don't know why you're laughing. He would be like, what are you doing? I'm on a ladder at 9:00 at night, working in the guest bedroom closet. I'm like, I got to get this done before the year's over because it's my goal.
And I always say it's not important to me because it's not my goal, but it's yours.
It
And I'm
is my
appreciative of your
goal.
goals.
Yes, yes, it is my goal. Okay, back to these 10 things. This is, I think, so important, is to embrace flexibility. Not every week is going to be the same. You might crush it one week and it's you had your food prepped and you made it to the gym, you got your exercise in and you were really focused on positivity and gratitude and working on your practicing the strategies and techniques and frameworks that we teach for stress management, and you crushed it. And then the following week, life happens and everything blows up and you just can't even get to it. Understanding that that's just life. And the more grace we offer ourselves, but to understand that flexibility and to get back on track as quick as possible is so important. So really giving yourself that long-term, what do I want in the end? How do I want my health to be when I'm 85 years old? In a year from now, in 5 years from now, how do I want to, what type of grandmother do I want to show up as, by the way? Have we done a podcast? Yeah, we've done a podcast since we've become grandparents.
I think we have.
Yes. I think we have. We are proud grandparents. It's Grandy and Mamie. It's so cute.
And he will be 1 year old next week.
Oh my gosh. And wow, just the best. Okay. Sorry. Squirrel. But truly, maybe that wasn't a squirrel. How do we want to show up in energy for our grandchildren and have that active lifestyle? So for me, that long game truly is, what do I want to feel like and be? What like memories do I want when I'm 85 years old? And the energy that I want. My people live a long time. So they do. My people live so long. And there's a difference with living long, but living well. And I want my health intact in the later years of my life. And it matters what you do now. You build that foundation now. You don't start building it when you're older. Unfortunately, that doesn't work.
That's true. And we've talked about in a previous podcast about the difference between lifespan, which is how long you live, how long you're on the planet, versus health span, which is how long you live in a healthy manner. And you live well. You live purposefully well. What do you want your life to look like when you're 85? You want to be in the nursing home with your children and grandchildren visiting, or do you want to be active and involved in their lives? It's a choice.
It is. It really is. Okay, let's move on through this. Celebrate small wins regularly. That is so important. It can't be understated. Literally celebrate the heck out of yourself when you do that small thing. What's repeated in the brain, rewarded in the brain is repeated in the brain. And so literally give yourself a pat on the back of those small things that you're doing. I think that as humans, we have this ability to only see what we didn't do and how we didn't measure up and how we're not moving fast enough. And so that does not actually help you move faster. If you want to move further, faster, and build that consistency in your life, truly learn to take inventory of those things that you're doing right. Okay, these last two things, we've been talking about them a little bit as we've been going. But number 9 is seek expert guidance, and trusted coach, mentor, or professional can offer personalized strategy, answer questions, and help you along the way. Have that expert guidance is everything to achieving the success. The people that have, the clients that have gone through this midlife metabolism reset often come back to it because it provides the expert support, the structure, the guidance, in community, but also with me as your coach to help guide you along the way with the strategies that are needed in the midlife metabolism reset, which we're kicking off, by the way, and you can even join now. You can go to midlifemetabolism.com and grab your spot. It sells out. There's a couple of options if you want that higher level, that higher touch points and some functional labs with this. There's a few spots still available for that as well. But with this program, there is customized nutrition for you. You will learn with a macro specialist, a midlife macro specialist will help with your specific nutrition needs in your lifestyle. This isn't here, just go do this. This is a very personalized, expert support guided structure to help you in this. It's really crazy what happens when you reset your metabolism, how much more energy you're going to feel, how much momentum this will start to build in your life for your overall vitality, to feel vibrant, to feel energized again is everything. And if you're anything like us, the holidays are not the time that you want to dial it all in. And so I am so ready. In fact, you said, it was so funny. Do you remember, like it was somewhere before New Year's and between Christmas, you're like, when does our next reset start? I am so ready for it.
Because I had fallen off the wagon of doing the things I need to do.
Yeah. And you feel it in, like, I indulged in sugar over the holidays, probably like we all do. And I just give myself some grace and I enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait for that reset to start. My joints, I feel it in my joints and my knees and the inflammation in my body. And so excited to get back to that structure. That last thing here is to cultivate a supportive environment. And that is definitely what we have inside of here. Here's the thing. If you have not found success on your own reaching your goals, what I would love for you to comment below and just is to go find some support. If it's not with me or Randy and I in this midlife metabolism reset, do yourself a favor. Go and get the right program for you. Now, if you're listening to this and any of this is sounding like, okay, wait a minute, that's what I want. I want that support. I want that structure. I want that expert guidance. I want to reset my metabolism. I want more energy. I want more vitality. And if this is in alignment with you and you're like, okay, I want to learn more about that. I do still have some spots open for this. We are getting ready to ramp up. And the way it's going to play out, it's really cool, is we take 2 weeks to onboard, meaning we take 2 weeks to get our environment set, to create the right mindset and to get things in order so we can have success. And then we take about 30 days and we do a reset. It's not like 75 hard. It's not meant to be like that. You don't have to do things perfectly. I really want to bust through all or nothing thinking. Now, I've done 75 hard, Andy Frisella's challenge, a couple of times, and I like it. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I love 75 hard. Yeah, I did too. This is more grace oriented though. If you don't complete all of your tasks, guess what? You're still in the challenge. It's okay. You're going to hear me say, keep going. This is how we build consistency. And you're a winner, and celebrate the small wins that you're doing, but come on, let's pick it up. One thing with a coach is that you find somebody that champions you, which I will do, but I'm going to challenge you too. I'm going to help you, but call you out on your excuses. We have to overcome our excuses. We have to overcome that all or nothing, that stop or start, so we can build that consistency in our lives. So if this is anything in alignment with you, we would love to have you come join us. There's a few spots still available. You can go to midlifemetabolismreset.com. And I have a special coupon for this, and it's Amy100, and that gets you $100 off of the registration. That only lasts for the first 4 people that sign up. And the registration will be closing soon, so you want to go ahead and take advantage of this here. Go ahead, Randy.
Did I get $100 off on my registration?
Yes, you did.
Wonderful. I feel better about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to charge you extra. Okay. Well, Happy New Year, everybody from Team Ramsey and Dr. Ramsey, Randy Ramsey. Thank you so much for being here, honey.
You're so very kindly welcome, as always.
As always.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Girlfriend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so honored you come back every week and that you share the Fit Soul podcast with your friends and family. Every time you share my podcast on Instagram or Facebook, I do a little happy dance. Make sure you subscribe to the Fit Soul podcast where you'll never miss an episode. You can go to Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode release. And just know, I truly love bringing you excellent content and great guests to provide you motivation and faith inspiration to help you walk worthy. And one of the ways you can help me is to go and leave the Fit Soul Podcast a review. If you have just a moment, would you please go over and leave a review for the Fit Soul Podcast? Thank you again. I love you. And here is your reminder. You are worthy. Until next time. Bye-bye.